Good evening. Welcome to Skills and Drills Ride. We got about 13 minutes before we start. Today should be a lot of fun. We are going to work on some of our basics again, specifically going over maintaining your position and your effort level when you come into different parts of the course. One of the things we've seen over the last few months is that people tend to hit some uphills, slight grades, and then they lose their mind. So because of that, we are wanting to focus on helping everyone learn how to stay in there and hold their position and hold their effort so they don't go from a 2.5 to a 7 just because the gradient kicks up to 2 or 3%. Alright, we got about just under 12 minutes. Alright, Dennis, you're getting a little feedback from you. Okay. So what we're going to work on today is we're going to go over that holding your position. Yeah, Dennis, you're still echoing through, so if you're on a voice only, you gotta turn up the gain so it doesn't hear me coming back through. All right, Deirdre's with us. Welcome, Deirdre.
Hello.
All right, Dennis, I'm gonna give you a chance to get that fixed. Looks like you might have gotten it. Great. Appreciate that. Just a touch. Perfect. Okay, we got about 9 of us right now. There's about 30 people that signed up, so hopefully we have a good sized group. We do not have any big climbs, so working on what we're going to work on today, which is maintaining position with slight changes, will be pretty easy to do. I think we max out at 5% briefly. And then towards the end of class, we'll cover on how you hit those to attack. And that's what's going to be the really fun part. That's when we'll let people go a little bit nuts. Alright, so from time to time, you will hear me stop talking, and you'll hear clicking and clacking of my keyboard as I'm typing out to everyone what we're doing. Since we haven't figured out how to do a complete voice only yet, I gotta work both sides. Alrighty. Work email check. for those of you watching. I apologize for being quiet right now, but I'm knocking some of this out so when we get going I can focus more on the discussion part and just type a little bit at a time. Thanks to the shares and the like, Charles Allen. Okay, so one of the reasons we're going over this is because I see it all the time where people hit these small climbs and they just jump up from a 2.5 or 3 to a 5 or a 6. And, you know, it's not that big of a deal. You do it once, it's for a second or two, but if you're doing this every time, you're just burning matches for no reason. If you're burning matches at points in the race that don't matter, then you're setting yourself up for a disadvantage later on in the race. Or if it's just a group ride, you may be setting yourself for a drop, later on in the ride. So we really want to try and focus on maintaining some consistency and holding a good position. But like usual, we're going to go out of the gate at a 1.5, and we're going to just practice moving around the bunch. And that's going to play into what we're doing later on today. So what I want you guys to do is as you move around the bunch, you know, I'll stay right in the middle. You can consider me a middle point. I want you to go to the front, and I want you to drift to the back. I want you to use that time to just see how it feels. Practice moving around the group. Practice staying on the front. Practice staying on the back. Practice staying in the middle in the draft. And then really trying to understand the dynamics of that. Give about 10 minutes. That should be enough time for everyone to be warmed up and to get a decent feel for the day. And then after that, we'll get right into our class. And at the very end, in the last few minutes, we'll focus on some attacks. After I see we're kind of maintaining what we need to maintain as we hit these small incline changes. All right, about 5 minutes is the perfect time to hit the bathroom if you need to hit the bathroom. Feel free to go take care of whatever you got to take care of. Just be back in 4:53. We have the Queen of the Odivas watching us right now. The fantastic Chat and Chill ride leader. Thea Freistadt. Awesome job in the CVR race back in Paris. And on Monday mornings, about 7:15, you can catch a good hour easy ride and get a lot of good information. And she puts up with us knuckleheads sometimes getting on with our humor. Okay, let me type out some more instructions real quick and then we will get ready to launch. have just a couple more minutes. I'm gonna put a little bit of music on in the background until we start. Keep everyone a little entertained. All right. Got 30 people right now, looking good. All right, about one more minute, folks. One more minute. And then we'll be right at it. Again, what I want everyone to do is make sure we're ready to go out at a 1.5. 1.5. If anyone pops out like a crazy person, we will not chase them. We will heckle and mock them using the Zwift chat features, but we will not chase. About 30 seconds to go. So remember, what we're working on today, folks, is the ability to hold ourselves in a position in the bunch. We've worked on it a couple different times, but this time we're specifically going to focus on our ability to do that as we hit small inclines. But let's, like normal, 1.5 out the bunch. Oops. Oh. All right, looks like we're good to go.
Still at the start line.
What's that?
Still on the start line, I think.
You're on the start line?
Looks like it. No, somebody else?
Not sure what happened to my Zwift live feed. It seems to locked up a little bit. There we go. Can't read any comments, but it's okay.
Nope, still on the start line.
You are? Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Hold on just a sec. Let me work on a technical issue on my side. Here we go.
Yeah, there's somebody behind me too.
Huh. Oh, you're welcome, Thea. It's more than happy to speak good things about her ride. Okay, let's keep this easy, folks. You want to use me as a center guide. So go forward, come back, go forward, come back. Don't just stay at one spot. So what we just saw right there is a good example of what we're going to do a little bit most of today. So that little 3% grade just split us all up. Again, we all want to try and maintain what we're doing. 1.5 if possible. So as we see that coming up, you can see on your screen the profile of the ride. So we want to be ready for it. It means you need to shift as you're coming into those. Like right now, we're going to go into it uphill. You can see it. There's no reason anyone should be in a bigger gear. Right there. Got a whole bunch of people just hit 4.2, 3.6.
I got back in.
Good.
I had to quit and join again.
Yeah, good. Well, at least you're back in. All right, so we are right now with a small group up the road. Small group behind me. I'm going to continue on at my 2.5.
Okay, there's no watts now.
Now you have no what? Are you getting dropouts?
No watts. No, I'm still going, but there's no watts.
I have no idea what's going on over there today. All right, 6 more minutes here. We've got a good group right behind me. Need them to catch up a little bit. All right, Schmidt, thank you very much for holding good pace. All right, small group on Discord today, but it's all right. We got just over 5 more minutes. Then we get at the meat of the class. So again, what we're going to be going over today is you're just seeing right now. We just hit a 4% grade. And right immediately, boom, a bunch of people jump to 3, 3.5, 2, 5 from their 1.5. Instead of shifting or slightly easing up, normally we're not going to want to really ease up. I get that. You want to stay with the group. But if you're in the middle of the bunch, you don't want to come up over the top of everybody. So you have to be prepared for that. So we just had someone who shot over the top of us at a 4.2. I know Mike just shot past us at a 3.2. And so that's one of the things, if you're really paying attention to your screen, you can see the gradient that's coming up. And that allows you to adjust your gearing or adjust your pedal stroke. And we'll go into a little bit more as we continue on. But right now, let's keep moving around. Get the legs warmed up. Alright, so you're seeing what I'm typing on the screen. You guys are going to get a little bit more information as we go through this. This is a pretty basic class that we're doing, but it's a very basic skill that we always forget because in the heat of things, we're just usually on the rivet. You know, we're just trying to stay connected with the group. But this is what's really important. When you're off the back of the group, or you're in the group, and you're just constantly burning excess energy, you're just throwing efforts out there for no reason, that's when you're not going to be able to use it later on. So this is all about really learning how to maximize or optimize the use of your energy. So we got a couple folks off the back. Hopefully they'll be able to catch back on. I want to keep it nice and easy right here. Deirdre, did you get your watts figured out yet?
No, I'm back at the start line again. This is really messed up.
That was like me a few weeks ago when kept kicking me out of my own ride. All right, looking very good, folks. I like to see that, what we got here. But yet again, we hit a small 5% grade. Not everyone shifted or took care, and we starting to throw grenades into the bunch. That's what we're going to keep working on. But not too bad. It's getting a little bit better. Two more minutes here at 1.5. Now, one of the things I will say, when you're hitting grades like this and you're in a really easy gear, if you're already in your easiest gear, sometimes you may just want to stand up and add a little weight, slow it down. So as you come up over the top, you can get it back into a good rhythm. But we're going to cover that a little more in detail later on. First thing we're going to cover down on is how do we just stay smooth. So I'm going to talk you guys through it a little bit, then I'll type it out to the group. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to lift our pace to a 2.0, to a 2.5, and we're going to try and stay smooth. When we hit a grade, when I want to be shifting beforehand, picking up the cadence a little bit, so as you hit that grade, you dial it back a touch. And I really want to stay at that 2.0 to 2.5 range just to practice being smooth. That's it. We're not going to do it like that when we get into the later part of the skill, but I really want everyone to be smooth. And if you can manage it smooth, it's much easier to go to a more advanced level, crawl, walk, run type phase. So that's how we do things in skills and drills. So let me type it out to the group and we'll get going. Okay, so what you just saw me there talking shifting appropriately as we see terrain approach. It's usually for what we're going to be doing one gear up or down. So let's lift it to a 2.0, to 2.5. So at no point do we want to go higher or lower than that, especially if you're at the front of the back. Your goal needs to be stay at 2 to 2.5, try and be bunched up as tight as possible. Okay. ¿Están buscando? Okay. Okay. Spelling error this time, I didn't get it out. Possible, not possibility. All right, I have to pay a little more attention because I dropped out of my 2 to 2.5. All right, so we're on a slight downhill, so you're going to pick up your cadence a little bit. You can shift up one gear if you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and shift up one gear. Since we're on that slight downhill, because remember, the resistance, if you're on a smart trainer, the resistance is going to go down a little bit. Since we're on a slight downhill, let's take advantage of it. But we don't want to try and hammer out a big burst. We want to use gravity to our benefit. All right, we flattened out now. So now you want to dial it back a touch. You may or may not need to shift. So consider shifting back to your previous gearing. I know, J-Flow, sorry that you're at work. So I'm seeing myself climbing of my 2.5, so I shifted down to an easier gear. And boom, right there, I'm in my range. Okay, so now slight downhill again. Slight downhill means I'm gonna shift up one gear. Again, I'm staying in my range, 2 to 2.5. I'm not having to overspin. I'm not really underspinning. I'm right in that nice 85-ish range. I'm not having to go hard to do it. You know, that's the key, is I'm conserving energy. Everything's about maximizing what I have. Yeah, Jeff, the kit is just available for the ride. That was the question. This is Castelli gear. We love our Castelli gear. Fits great. In fact, I'm wearing some right now. Castelli bib shorts and my base layer. Pasaron? So we're at a minus 2% now. And a minus 2%, remember? If you're falling out of range, make the adjustment. For me, I just picked up my RPMs a little bit. Now we're going back down to our 0%, back up to 2%. So I'm constantly watching up in the corner. For those who are watching the stream, if I can get my cursor over here, up here, the gradient and what I have coming up next. So we're gonna be pretty flat. I can stay here. All right, so I can already see I've got 1% I'm on, and we're gonna pick up a little bit more. So I'm gonna go ahead and shift down now to an easier gear, just in time for my 3%. And you can see that kept me in range. And now as I see it flattening out a little bit, I know I can just pick up my RPMs a touch. So as we start going through this really hilly part around the beginning, try and guess what you need to be doing before we get it. You want to be predictive. Anticipate your changes. One of the reasons we really want to anticipate our changes is because when you shift under load, meaning when you shift, when you're putting a lot of power into the pedals, you're more likely to have an issue with your chain falling off, broken chain, skips, things like that. So you really want to pay attention that you're shifting at the best possible time. And that's not when you're pushing much greater than you're used to pushing. All right, we're back at a 0, back downhill. So again, just picking up my cadence a little bit because I've already got a good gearing. Now we're hitting our 1. So we're slight up and down, slight changes between -1 and 1. So really I can just adjust my effort more so than adjust my gearing. But when we start going these swings to 2, 3, 4%, that's when I have to really start looking at what my gearing is. Again, right now, I'm just going to pick up my cadence because we're just at that -1%. Pretty soon, we're going to hit those 3 and 4% climbs. Again, nothing sufficient or nothing significant. It shouldn't drop you, but at the same time, you don't want to be poorly geared. And we got a pretty good sized group. We're fairly bunched up. That's what I like to see. It means everyone's in and learning. Good. Justin, thanks for joining. All right, I'm just tail gunning a little bit. I'm gonna make my way to the front. So it looks like we have 2 echelons forming. So this is when you really need to pay attention, because you're getting lulled in the false sense of security here. Now we are going to cover, next time we're coming through here, we'll probably be doing some attacking, learning about when's the right time to attack. I'll give you a hint that unless you're just a lot stronger than everybody right in your group, this is not a good time to attack. Because we are dead flat and the arrow advantage is with the group. Unless the group lulls into a slow pace. Which we are not. We're riding nice and steady. All right, almost to the flat patch. I wish I could silence some of the other chats coming into our event. All right, while you're up here, continue to take the time to practice staying in the draft. We have a pretty good group. Make sure we're not too strung out. Nope. Look at that, we're bunched up nicely. I like that. Good arrow effect. Alrighty, so we're starting to see some bumps in the road up ahead of us. Alright, some of the people are starting to come up and down, myself included. Scott, thanks, appreciate it. Scott said this is a well done ride. All right, we are moving along. You're gonna see some ups and downs right now. Okay, big one coming up. What should you be doing? So I just shifted down a little bit. I highly recommend when you see those big ones coming up, we're coming up to a 2%. Again, not huge, but enough to disrupt you. And anything that's going to disrupt you means you need to be prepared for it. Okay, so it can throw you out of rhythm, and okay, we're just dropping down to 2%, so I shifted up again. Back down to -1. So my one shift and a change in cadence helps me stay right where I need to be in the group. Very nice. Very nice, Schmidt. You guys are doing great at the front. All right, we got some nice little elevation changes here. Again, at 2%, so what did I do? I backed off my cadence. Was already in a gear that was gonna allow me to stay in my range. Perfect, so we got a few people still busting the upper limits, but not significantly. Mike, very good job. Deirdre, how are you doing? Looking good, staying with us.
Yeah.
Good. All right, that was fantastic. Well, thank you, Burger. Hope that was for me, that you love me. Or Rue, whoever sent that. All right, we got a few folks slightly spreading off the front. Good. Oh, he was talking to LeBeau. Oh well. I don't feel loved anymore. All right, so if you look at what we just did, when we hit that the first time, we were spread all over. We're a little spread out now, but we're a lot more bunched up. We're not completely strung out. All right, let's ease off to 1.5 at the front. Just got a few people that got dropped off the back, and we're gonna start talking attacks. So, we've talked when is the best time to attack, when is the best time to not attack. And you know, if you're riding a course like this one, you don't have a lot of opportunities to have a decisive attack without really hammering away from a group. So we want to take advantage of it. Now, there's a couple of times that you can do that. Please get off your chat off our stuff. There's a couple of times to do this. Ideally on a course like this, you can use a slight rise or just cresting over these little 3%ers like this one. All right, people weren't paying attention and they got by the 4%. So remember, make your shifts. Make your shifts. Good job, Mike. Bisaha, very good job. Or Bisaha, not sure how to pronounce the last name. Hope I didn't butcher it. All right. So even though we hit that one and people weren't paying attention, you guys adjusted quickly and we seem to have more or less stayed together. So if you're off the back, do a quick bridge up to me and then I'll bring us back to the front. Only a few people up the road. All right, good. Appreciate you guys at the front slowing down. That's good, that 3%. Nice, okay, let's get back into our range. All right, we're gonna go to 2.0 to 2.5. We're gonna hold it there, and we'll practice some attacks from there. All right, so if you're not on the group, if you're slightly off the back, go ahead and pick it up. Do a small attack to get back onto us. We're gonna use gravity as your friend. Up and down. All right. All right, so what we want to do is we want to start looking up ahead at the map as we're going on at our pace, our 2 to 2.5. And when we see something that looks like a 3% or a 2%, as we go into the bottom of that, we're going to punch the gas. We're going to punch it just to try and simulate getting a gap. Now, I don't want us to punch it at 8. I just want a small punch. 3.5 is what we're going to do just till we get up over that. A few seconds, then we're going to drop back into our lower part of our range to regroup. So let me type it. Once I get it all typed out, that's when we'll start. Hey, Justin. Justin Laborio, thanks for saying hello. Okay, so I just typed out what we're going to be doing. And this is going to be incumbent upon everyone else. I'm going to type out there as I see it, but I really want you guys to look at the map and pay attention to it. This is important because you really just need to start identifying what you have coming up. And I'll see, obviously I can't see way up ahead to see what it is. I can just see that there's an incline. So if we're not on attack, we want to stay in our range because we don't want to put ourselves at a tactical advantage or disadvantage. We don't want to go out and surge only to have the group catch us because aerodynamically we couldn't get away. We couldn't break that grip. And I will tell you, it is very hard to do that. Sometimes, you know, it takes a good 30 or 40 seconds of effort just to get away. You know, my phone is about to die. So, no more Zwift Mobile Link. Is it chewing through battery today? All right, so we're not at a 1%. Again, we want to hold what we got. All right, so we'll be coming up on a few rollers in our flat section. When we're in our flat section, just hold what we got. Stay in our group. Try and stay bunched up. You want to be on the front though. You do not want to be the person on the front if you can avoid it. Try and be a row or two back. Because then when you do punch it, you're getting a little slipstream as the riders in front of you first slow down as they hit that gradient that they didn't prepare for. That's actually what happens more often than not. While their power may go up, their avatar slows down. And if you're ready for it, you can slingshot around them. Okay, let's hit it. Okay, back it down, back to the group. All right, we got a little group split off the back. All right, good job. Closed it down. Awesome work. All right, we're at a -1. Let's pay attention. -2. Again, this favors the bunch. Let's try and stay packed up together. You notice packed up together, it's very hard to get away too. All right, I'm gonna sit right at the front here. All right, it's coming up, folks. Oh, we just missed it. It's that section again. So in IRL racing, IRL racing, you know, this is when you're fighting for wheels. You're trying to be in a good spot. So, all right. You're trying to be in a good spot, and if you're in a good spot, it allows you to attack from better angles. And right now, as you can see, we're really tight, so this would be some good wheel fighting in the bunch. This is like pro tour kind of stuff, not our local amateur races where, you know, there's gaps. We're talking elbow to elbow here, everyone fighting for wheels. That's what I like to see. We're going to implement penalties here in a little bit. So for those of you who are playing the home game, the penalty section is if you go above the range off the front and it is not an appropriate attack time, you have to stop pedaling, put your foot down, and then catch back onto the group. We're going to start that here in a few minutes after we make it through our next section of hills. All right, so the penalty portion is a very good game you can play at home with your adult beverage of choice if you so desire. If not, you can use anything. And when someone gets penalized, you can also choose to, eat your cheese and cracker or take a drink, do whatever you want to do. I do warn you, penalties come fast and furious, easy in the beginning. And then there's a big stretch as everyone kind of sits off and make sure that they're paying attention to what they're doing. Now, one of the good things I want to point out right here is you can see my avatar split off to the side. So even though I'm near the group, I'm actually not getting the benefit of the draft. So I'm having to do a 2.9 while you see Mr. Collins up there doing 1.4. Then as I slide back in, now I can ease off. So I just wanted to highlight that benefit. Now, look, done it at 2.3, 2.2. Alrighty, here we go, folks. I like this. We're just holding nice, steady 2 to 2.5. I know for some folks this is pushing the pace a little bit for them, so good job at holding on. We're going to start seeing some terrain here. That is a 2% right there. One 1%, 2%. So right there, if you wanted to punch, you could, but you can see it's not it wasn't very long, so you're not going to get much advantage. So if you happen to know the course really well, you'll know when are good times to attack. I would bet all of us who've been riding for a long time can tell us the best places on Watopia to attack. What part of the S's, what part of the climbs, what part of the mountain. Let's face it, nobody attacks in the tower, you're just going all out. All right, give it a punch. Give it a punch. All right, if you fell off the back, punch it to catch up to us. If you're off the front, ease off a little bit. See, a nice long one like that is where you would go and go hard for about 30 seconds. And right where we came over right there, if you had that gap, you continue to hammer it. So if we have time when we come back around, we'll hit it one more time. Unfortunately, we didn't have access to just repeating that one section over and over. All right, so what we're gonna do on the next one, which is the one that has the 3% grade, I want you guys to wait until we're closing in a little bit on the crest, then hammer the crest all the way through for 5 seconds afterwards. That's how you actually approach climbs like this, or these small, short, punchy climbs. You wanna get away and use your advantage going into the downhill. And that downhill, you can either stretch it or at least establish it where you're away. And it's tough to master because you have to be patient. All right, go. Go. Come on. Shift up. Give it some gas. Let's get on up over the top. Good. Come on, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Up over the top for 5 seconds. All right. Hit a couple more minutes. Want to regroup? We'll do one more of those. Whoa. Talk about shifting under load. That's what happens. That plop, that plop. All right, so Mike, or Mark, excuse me. Hope you guys are able to catch on. Nice and slow at the front right now. Toby, thanks for joining. Sorry, I got some air pollution in the nose. All right, we still got a pretty tight bunch. Mark, if you guys are able to make it, give me a big surge across. 15 seconds. Gotta keep them around 2.0 because we are doing slight uphills here. So Mark, sorry, but see that surge can be just a little longer if you can do it. I will call them back. All right, good. We have a pretty good sized group here. Still can see it through the fog. All right, back up to 2.0 to 2.5. Sorry, Mark, if you're not able to get on. Just need to get one more time. Yeah, that's okay, blowing up. That's fine, I understand. Just keep spinning out. And when you hear us go or you see the elevation, make your surges. Oh, thanks, Toby. All right, so we're gonna do one more when we get our next little 2%. But really, I want you guys to focus on accelerate through the crest and then hammer it for the first 5 seconds down the hill. Let's really try and gap each other a little bit. We're at the end of the ride. We're just gonna recover after this one. So it's okay if we gap each other. Easy at the front there, Brian. T. Brian. We've still got plenty of time for our legs to cool down after our next iteration of this. We just need to simply find a good ascent, and I believe it's coming up here in a little bit. Remember, this is all about patience. We're going to do our little U-turn, and we're going to be in a good spot. All we want to really be is attuned to when we should go. 1% is not the time to go. So you'll see right there if you watch what I just had to do, trying to make my way back up to the front. And since we're doing a decent pace at the front, a little more than 2.5, I had to put in a 3.3 to get myself in a good position. So what I just typed in there is don't telegraph what you plan to do. And why do I say that? If you move yourself to the front and you're constantly edging the pace up, everybody knows you're getting ready to go. You're marked at that point. So there's no surprise. You want to surprise people. That's why you come from 2 rows back or 1 row back. That's why you don't go off the front. That's why you're sitting in and conserving your energy. If you telegraph it, really no point in what you just did, other than you allowed someone else to survive and take your draft. Go. Oh, sorry, too late. All right, so now we do see the pace picked up a little bit. And what does that mean? Well, we strung out. We strung out. I was typing, so all of a sudden I have to do more work to get across this gap. All right, go everybody. Use the terrain. Accelerate through. Remember, it's not a sprint from the bottom. All right, good. So in this case, we really didn't have much of a descent. It was more just flattened out. There it was right there. All right, let's ease it off. We're gonna recover a little bit here. All right, so real quick wrap up for everybody on here. What we covered today was positioning, but as it applies to changes in the road. And that's really important as we, sorry I lost everybody, as we really start focusing on where we are and how we're holding our position or our tactics in the race. We really want to focus on limiting our expenditure of energy if we don't have to. Okay? And that's really important as the races go on or they get harder. You know, or as your rides get longer. Even if it's not a race, if we're just talking a ride. You saw as we hit these small little gradient changes, 2 to 3%. 2 to 3% made people jump 1 or 2 watts per kilo. I mean, that's a lot. That's a huge jump. You know, especially for someone who maybe 3's their upper limits. If they're already riding at 2 to 2.5 and they have to spend 5, 10, 20 seconds at 3.5 to 4, then, you know, you're burning a match. You can only do that so many times before your legs implode. You know, Mark unfortunately got caught off the back that one time, so for him to catch on after doing all that work, it's really tough, and I'm sure he could vouch for that. I know I have been in that situation. And, you know, every time you have to do those accelerations, every time you have to try and come back on, or every time you go to the front and get put there and you're kept there, you're wasting energy. So on Zwift, we have the good fortune of being able to see the terrain we have coming up. You know, and to some extent you can see that on a regular real-life ride. Mostly it's just by paying attention to what's up the road. If you happen to know the course, then you have a really good idea. So you want to prepare yourself for what's coming up. So that's going to mean either shifting up, shifting down, or getting ready to change your cadence. So as you hit that changing gradient, you're already ready for it. You either spin it a little bit more so then it settles you back into the cadence that you prefer, or you've already picked up to a harder gear, so as you go downhill, you're just spinning right into it. You know, or maybe you're not having to shift, you're just picking up the cadence, knowing as you hit that grade, everybody's going to slow down a little bit, but you're going to maintain a good pace. So they may slow and then they have to accelerate. And what you're seeing a lot on these small climbs is everyone hits it, and then there's that delay where they jump up a few watts. That jump up a few watts is actually them trying to re-accelerate back to what they had. It's not that they're hitting the gas most of the time and going. It's they lost it, now they're trying to get back up to where they were. And usually it's a loss of position. So that's that key part. Now the second thing we covered was our accelerations, our attacks. And on a flat course like this, it's very difficult to get away unless you pick your areas of attack selectively, unless you're going for the final sprint finish. So for a rider like me, I'm not going to beat anybody in the final sprint finish that we got to line it a bunch on. So I need to attack in some very specific places. For me, those 3 or 4% sections that we real steep or real short, those are pretty decent places for me to attack, but I have to attack through the crest to the downhill. Because if I can carry that momentum in that gap, it's a lot harder for people to close that, and I can potentially stay away. Now I may have to do that 3 or 4 times to shed more people on this kind of course, but that's the best time for me to do it. Even if you're a good sprinter, if you know you have another strong sprinter with you, and you just want to change the race up, well, then you can hit them at that point further out than expected, take it through, and then stay away, because now they have to try and cross on a section that doesn't necessarily benefit them. You know, the downhill or even a flat, a one-on-one flat, one versus one on the flat, it's just a matter of power. And if you guys are more or less evenly matched, you know, then they're not going to catch you, provided you can hold it. So that's going to be it from for our skills and drills today. If you have other rides you'd like to do with ODZ, take a look at TeamODZ.com for the ride calendar, or the Zwift Live by ODZ on Facebook. We have plenty of rides. We have tomorrow, I think there's a couple workouts going on in the morning, and then we have the Thursday night throwdown tomorrow evening at 9, I believe it's 9 Eastern. In fact, I'll put it up for you right here so everyone can see it. And then on Friday we have In the Feed Zone with Jason Flores, who talks nutrition. And it doesn't always mean in-ride nutrition or in-race nutrition. A lot of times it's outside of the event. Just your training or your pre-race or post-race or your daily nutrition. Then after that we have the Friday Ebb, which is a nice easy recovery ride that ends with a really hard sprint, a 1K sprint. Saturdays and Sundays we have our signature races of this week, I believe, is a cat and mouse. I think we have no divas this weekend, I'm not sure. And then Sunday we have an ODZ entry ride, which runs most of the morning. Riders from all over get on, and it's not in the event module. You just look for people that have their name tag ODZ entry, and you can ride with them. There's 2.5 and 3.0, and I believe the 3.5 sometimes. You're going to want to look for people like Mark Johnson, Night Train, Brett Elder, people like that. They're always on there, and they rotate leaders in and out, so you can ride a century, a metric century, a standard century, or just ride 5 or 10 kilometers with them if you want. So the group dynamics take effect, and it gets going pretty fast. Then on Monday we have the Magnum Monday race, the Chat and Chill, which I talked about earlier in the ride. And then I will also be doing an Endurance Lab workout starting at 6:15 Eastern. And then Chat and Chill follows that at 7:15. And then after that you'll see the Magnum Monday, which is a neutral rollout race. And then you should also see later in the day a couple more workouts. And then Tuesday and Wednesday you have more races. You have the Salt Lake Triathlon Club time trial, the What's Up with Power, more workouts. All right, Deirdre, thanks. We'll see you later. Yep, that's going to be it for me, folks. Appreciate you joining in. We'll see you out there sometime during the week.